Fournette can't do it and Ezekiel Elliott can't do it, I ask the question, who can?
Yeah, Ralph's audio sucks. Ralph's all fucked up.
On my way. No, I was going to say, Andrew, the answer is no one is going to run on the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to feel that way.
I mean, the thing is, Jacksonville, that game was close, Dave. Like, Jacksonville had every reason to run Leonard Fournette 30-plus times, and they just didn't. You know?
Yeah. No, I think the game was always within reach for Jacksonville. It was always winnable or losable to either team. And, I mean, both defenses played well, but the Saints defense just played better. And the Saints offense kind of sucked. So.
Well, no, but hey, Andrew, we were talking about it today. The Saints offense, it sucked in the first half, but in the second half, it was quietly effective. Let's not say great. Let's say effective. Is that fair?
Well, they only had 4 drives. So, take that for what it is. And the first drive was a 5-minute drive where they got a field goal. So that's something. The second drive was a 6-minute drive, over 6 minutes, where they got a touchdown. So that's 10 points right there. Then they go 3 and out, and then the fourth drive, they get the ball back with 6 minutes and 9 seconds left, and they run out the entire clock, and they finish inside the 10. So obviously they didn't score there because they ran out the clock, but they could have scored there. And so I thought 3 of the 4 drives were long. They were methodical. The Saints were moving the chains, and they would have put at least 13, if not 17 points if they needed a field goal or a touchdown there at the end. So, 17 points and a half, that's 34 for a game, or 13 would have been 26. So I thought the second half was totally fine. It was really just the first half.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, another interesting thing is, and I didn't put in my column because my kid was sick, and I turned in that column for WWL at like 3:45 a.m. But Latavius Murray, I feel like Sean Payton.
Here we go. Let's talk about it.
He didn't trust Latavius Murray, I don't think, going into the game, and he's like, I'm going to run Kamara, and then Kamara he had the hurt ankle going into the week, and then he hurt his knee, tweaked his knee, and then Sean Payton, he had to run Latavius Murray. He's like, fuck, Kamara is not healthy enough. I gotta lean on Latavius Murray now, whether I trust him or not. And he
Ralph,
showed
play
that
the
he could
breaking
do
news
it.
Clip.
Oh Lord! What do you got, Andrew? What do you got for us?
Well, I'm reading right now, and it seems, I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet because I was late, but it looks like the Saints are working out a familiar face tomorrow as running back Travaris Cadet is en route to New Orleans.
Jesus Christ. Mickey Loomis is drunk dialing the X's.
Yes.
Good God, man.
So
like, why?
Kamara is not playing this week. That's what that means.
I mean, but does Travis Cadet have to play? Like, why him? Sign somebody off the practice squad. Bring back Boston from last year.
They don't know the offense.
It doesn't matter, Andrew. I don't care. I don't want Travis Cadet on my television
Sean
set.
Payton needs his receiving back.
Wait a minute.
Latavius Murray doesn't do that.
We know how this. I'm going to tell you this is going to go. Travis Cadet is going to have 2 carries for 1 yard, and he's going to drop a critical third down or a touchdown pass. That's what's going to fucking happen in Chicago.
Have they even tried Little Jordan at running back yet?
God knows it's not working out at receiver for him.
Wait, no. Can we please talk about? I mean, I don't. You were talking about how Sean Payton doesn't trust Latavius Murray. Does anybody have an explanation as to why? I mean, I have not seen anything. Not watching practice, obviously. I don't know if he's putting the ball on the ground all the time in practice, but I have seen nothing in regular season play to warrant any sort of distrust. This last game was another good example of it.
No, you're right.
I thought early in the game he looked good in the running game and receiving game, and then they totally go right back to Kamara, and they never even go back to him until the second half, the third quarter, maybe even the fourth quarter. And this really feels like the Reggie Bush, Pierre Thomas days, where I would constantly have, like in the early days of Pierre Thomas, where I constantly had to felt like I was always going to bat for Pierre, and wondering why they never used Pierre Thomas more. And it's baffling. And I mean, I just looked before the show. I just looked at season stats to this point, and I mean, him and Murray and Kamara both averaged like 4.3 or 4.6 yards per carry, which is decent.
There's a pretty big difference between those two numbers you just listed.
No. They both, whatever it is, they both have the same number. They either both have 4.3 or 4.6. I don't know, but either way, they are averaging the exact same yards per carry. Obviously, Kamara has more touches. And then in the receiving game, Latavius Murray is averaging 7 yards a catch with a long of like 30 or something like that. I mean, he's a running back. I mean, 7 yards per catch for a running back is pretty fucking good. Kamara, I think, was at 8.1 yards per catch. So, I mean, the stats, the numbers aren't really that much different. Obviously, Kamara is a way better running back and does things that Latavius Murray can't do. But still, I see no reason statistically or based on the eye test why Latavius Murray isn't getting more touches. I really don't.
You know what? It was interesting. I was arguing with people on Saints Twitter. I was saying that Latavius Murray, before he had the good game that he had Sunday, even as he was having it, I said, Andrew, Latavius Murray, he feels like 2011, 2012 Mark Ingram. And people were arguing with me. They're like, no, he's way worse than 2011-12 Mark Ingram, or he's way better. And I looked at the stats, and he's literally fucking exactly the same, 3.9 yards per rush.
No. Latavius Murray is over 4 yards per carry
now, but going into Sunday.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Andrew, I mean, if Kamara's Nick, like, it's gonna be Latavius Murray's show. Like Travis Cadet, he's getting what? Hopefully 0 touches. Like,
well, I mean, I'm sure Sean Payton will have him in the game plan, and I think he wants to have a contingency if they're throwing every play. You know, if they need a running back that all of a sudden, you know, hey, we're down 2 touchdowns and we need to throw every play. I think Travis Cadet knows the playbook. You know, he knows the route concepts. He can catch the ball, and you know, so I think the stuff they ask out of Kamara as a receiver, Latavius Murray can't do a lot of that stuff. I mean, he's been nice in the screen game and he can catch the ball, but he doesn't offer them kind of the mismatches that Kamara does. And I think Travis Cadet, he's just better at that stuff. He just is. And he knows the offense. He knows the plays. And so is he Alvin Kamara? Of course not. Is he even good? No. But I do think he is familiar with those plays and he just has that skill set. You know, obviously it's a light version of Kamara, but he can do that stuff. And so I just think there's going to be certain situations in the game where Sean Payton needs that presence, and Dwayne Washington is not that kind of guy, and neither is Murray. And I just think they bring in Cadet, they see what kind of shape he's in, and if they feel like he's ready to go, then they'll give him a small part of the game plan. And they probably won't play him a ton unless it gets to a point where it's like, hey, 2-minute offense, we're throwing every play, in which case he's maybe a better fit for the offense than Murray at times.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too, Dave, is, you know, we'll get into Chicago, the Chicago game in just a minute, but in more detail. But you know, if they're gonna play this sort of smash mouth, lean on the defense football, they're gonna need, I think, a better running game. That they're going to need what they got running the ball the second half. Like, they can't, even when Drew Brees gets back, if they're going to play this formula of ball control, defense, and special teams, running the ball becomes, to me, critical even when Brees gets back. So they've got, like, Latavius Murray better be freaking good, is what I'm saying. Again,
I think he's I think he's been deserving of more playing time and more opportunity, and I feel like he's been underappreciated and underused. And I do think that if and when, and then very well maybe in the near future, he gets more touches, I think we'll all be happy with what we see.
We'll see. So, Andrew, you talked about it in your grades. Teddy Bridgewater, you said it was probably maybe his poorest game with the Saints, although he improved in the second half. And Deuce Wyndham put up a thing that said, Teddy's stats under Sean Payton, as much as we complain about him, all his key stats are better with the Saints than his career with Minnesota, including his sack rate, which is, even though we feel like he takes a lot of sacks, it's down 30% from his career average. So at what point in these, because we're only going to have 2 more weeks of a Teddy Bridgewater sample size, what do you think he has to do to sort of get a big contract from a team? Because I don't think he's there yet. Is that fair?
I don't know. I mean,
that's why I said last week the best thing for Teddy was to not play this week and to end with his game last week, which was great, and he looked great, and he should have just ended on a high note. But obviously, he's got to keep playing.
First of all, wins matter, and so I think the fact that he's 4-0, I mean, throw everything else out the window. The fact that his quarterback rating is 98.4, I mean, that's really high. He is playing very efficiently. I mean, you can say what you will about he doesn't push the ball down the field. Say what you will about, his he holds on to the ball too long. Say what you will about his checkdowns, all that stuff. There are 2 undeniable things, and that's that his quarterback rating is 98.4, highly efficient. I mean, that's a good Drew Brees season. That quarterback rating, and then 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those are good ratios. He's 4-0. He's won 4 games. So
but what's his DVOA?
Well, I just think he's done enough. Like at the end of the day, coaches, when they pick their quarterback, they want to know, now, is he getting a major contract? Is someone paying him 5 years, $100 million? Is he getting Nick Foles money? No, he's not getting those things. But is he getting?
Tampa would like a quarterback that didn't throw 5 fucking interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he'll get a 2-year, $36 million deal. I think some team will give him a mid-level starting quarterback deal, short term. I think he's earned that. And I think short of like a huge implosion in Chicago where he goes Jameis Winston and throws 5 picks, like if he throws for 170 yards in that game and they lose, but he doesn't turn the ball over, I just think people are going to say, Teddy Bridgewater did a good job.
Yeah, and you got another team, Tennessee benched Mariota. So that's pretty much signaling they're done with him. They benched him and went to Tannehill. Tannehill's going to start this week. So that's another team that's going to be looking for a quarterback, So
yeah, who knows what the Redskins do? I mean, it looks like Dwayne Haskins isn't going to be the guy, maybe.
Teddy should stay. If the options for Teddy Bridgewater are stay back up with the Saints or go to Washington, he should stay with the Saints. Like, Washington is a fucking dumpster fire, and he should stay. Like, that's as big a stay away as the Dolphins to me.
Well, but stay away from the Dolphins was also there were financial implications there. Like, at some point, if the Dolphins had been, hey, we're paying you 2 years, $30 million, he would not have been back with the Saints. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, he did pass on the job, but they were offering him 2 years, $10 million. They were not offering him starters money. And so they end up signing Fitzpatrick because he went for chump change, and that's what they were offering Teddy. So I think we need to, yes, he passed on the Dolphins and an opportunity to start, but there was zero financial commitment from them.
Yeah, that's fair. Before we keep going, and it's unfortunate that my lazy ass was chit-chatting with Dave before the show, and I lazily plugged in my Ethernet cable sloppily, and it fucked up the live stream. But we want to make a big announcement, and it's huge. This is fucking exciting times, my friend.
Can you get back on the live, or is that
it's back? It's back. It's just buffering. It's chalky.
Oh, it's still doing that.
So But this is a huge announcement, and
Are you playing? Are you doing to do the breaking news
yeah,
soundbite for this?
breaking news for this show. We are going to have a live Saints Happy Hour podcast at Tracy's in the Irish Channel on December 14th, along with the Bird Calls podcast from the Birds Right Pelican site. They are going to do their show. We are going to do our show live at Tracy's. You can come for free. We're going to have an RSVP link up that we'll start sending out either Tuesday or Wednesday, where you RSVP by November 24th. You get a free Saints Happy Hour t-shirt courtesy of us if you just show up and get drunk with us as we do the live show. Knowing our history, it may be a complete dumpster fire, but it's a Saturday night. You can drink before the Colts game on Monday. The Pelicans will be playing. You'll have Zion. So I'm super excited about this. It's going to be amazing or a disaster. But either way, you get to meet us or you get to drink. It'll be fun, right?
This is your big opportunity to meet us. You can shake Ralph's dead hand. I mean, come on.
And I don't know about Kevin, but the three of us will definitely be there.
Yes.
God willing.
And
my wife.
She will be doing day of logistics because she's a wedding planner. I drafted her, so that'll be funny. So you can meet her if you so choose. And I may berate my family into showing up. My brother.
Wait. Are you bringing the cats?
Nah, I'm not bringing the cats.
Pack up the cats, dude.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
So that's the big announcement, and we are tremendously excited. And this is something that Armchair Media has put together, and I think you guys are gonna love it. It's gonna be super fun. So we'll get the RSVP link out to you soon. But December 14th, mark your calendars. Get a babysitter. Call your parole officer. Do whatever you got to do to get to the live show at Tracy's on December 14th.
Oh wait, I just have something to say to Wilfredo Custodio, who had a little something to say about Lil Jordan, saying Lil Jordan has a better chance of getting a catch than our live stream getting fixed. I don't appreciate the comment about Lil Jordan. I think that's rude and unnecessary, and he has nothing to do with this shitty live stream. Leave him out of it.
I thought you ditched him as a son.
Yeah, but then he was active yesterday, so there's still hope. That he could, I just want like one catch. I can't quit you, baby. Lil Jordan, I can't quit you, baby.
Andrew, you're the tape watching statistics guy, and I know people on Twitter today were making fun of me, but I was like, isn't that a huge problem that the Saints have one dude playing 30% of the snaps and another dude playing 27% of the snaps, and neither of them got a fucking target? That's Austin Carr and Little Jordan. Neither of them.
There were two plays I saw where Austin Carr was wide open. And so, I would blame Bridgewater there. I mean, clearly he's not looking their way. But I never saw any opportunity for Lil Jordan. I mean, he's just covered like a blanket. He is not getting open. And so
Are you watching the all 22? Are you sure? Are you watching the all 22?
I'm watching it, man. He sucks. I mean, and I'm not even saying this to like be a dick to Dave. Like I'm fair in my
not gonna work here anymore anyway.
I mean, I think I saw him on the kickoff coverage team. So my theory is the only reason that he sticks is that the Saints are like, yeah, Emmanuel Butler can't be on the kickoff team, and Lil Jordan can do that. So I guess maybe they feel like, hey, if they're both about the same receiver, so we might as well keep the guy that can cover kickoffs. I don't know, but at some point, like if you get zero production out of Austin Carr and Lil Jordan Humphrey, like don't you go get somebody else from like the street or your practice squad? I mean, I don't know, but I just don't understand for the life of me how these guys keep playing every week. And Austin Carr, like, I'll give him credit. Like, the dude's playing his ass off blocking, and they have him in on a lot of blocking situations. And, you know, he's staying connected to the game, but Lil Jordan Humphrey's not doing that. He's not in on the run plays. In fact, every time Lil Jordan's in, I feel like it's a pretty big tell that it's a pass. But he's just not making it happen. And neither of them are. I mean, seriously, at what point do you just call up Emmanuel Butler or get another receiver? Like, how long are we just going to go the whole season with Austin Carr and Lil Jordan Humphrey doing nothing for this offense?
Well, here's the question that you have, Dave. The trade deadline is 16 days away. What's the date? Today's the 14th, and the trade deadline is 14 days because the trade deadline is October 28th, I believe. So for the Saints, that means you basically have 2 more weeks, right? You have 2 weeks to decide what you're going to do at receiver. And I guess, Dave, the question the Saints have to ask is, can Drew Brees coming back fix this? And what do you think the Saints believe? Do you believe they're like, oh, Drew will get back and it'll fix itself, you know? Because they only have 2 weeks to decide, and they have to make that call before Drew Brees gets back. So,
well, I mean, look, I don't know whether that means Lil Jordan Humphrey and Austin Carr are going to start, you know, being that involved. I certainly think that Drew will be able to get even more out of Mike Thomas and Alvin Kamara and Traquan and Ted Ginn. I mean, I think the offense is going to continue to be, you know, heavily favoring those top 3, top 4 guys. But, you know, this past game on Sunday against the Jaguars, this was really the first time when I was watching the game and saying, oh my God, if Drew Brees was playing this game, you know, I don't think the offense struggles anywhere near what they did, especially in that, like Andrew mentioned, especially in that first half. I mean, this is the first game that Teddy's played where I'm like, if Drew was playing, they definitely would have put up a lot more points. You know, in games prior, it's like Andrew discussed, and I agreed with him, you know, a couple of weeks ago. You know, even late in 2018, last season, the offense was having trouble moving down the field, and I kind of got that impression that maybe some of the offensive troubles earlier this season weren't necessarily Teddy Bridgewater's fault; it was the offense. So
this one was different, though.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I felt like, I agree, Dave. Like, I felt like,
I mean, in the first half, Teddy was sailing passes. He was way off his marks. I feel like there were a lot of plays where,
but he was missing open guys.
Yeah.
I felt like in the first game against Seattle, I couldn't really blame Teddy. I couldn't really expect him to play any better because I didn't feel like the plays were there. Same thing against Dallas. You know, yes, I would have liked for the offense to have played better, but I didn't really feel like Teddy was missing guys. Or in this game, the plays were there. Right. I just didn't think he was executing.
Right. Yeah, and which goes back to last week. People were here with us about, you know, our hype of Teddy, and I think all of us prefaced all of that by saying we needed to see him have another great game this week, and he did not have that. He did not have. I started to get bad. You know, he had like 230 yards, and you know, one touchdown or whatever.
Well, I started to get worried about Teddy against Jacksonville when I was watching Tampa Bay and Carolina from London in the morning. Tampa Bay is just fucking god awful in the secondary, and that's not to say Teddy didn't do it. He did it against Tampa, but I think everybody can do it against Tampa. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, oh man, Tampa.
Well, Teddy didn't have. I mean, hold on. Teddy didn't have the luxury of 7 turnovers either.
That's true.
I mean, I think a lot of teams are going to look good against Tampa if they get 7 turnovers.
That's true. But the thing, and I said this to you, Andrew, on Victory when we did Victory Monday. By the way, you should subscribe to the Saints Happy Hour podcast. $10 a month. You get daily podcast, Andrew's grades. They're fucking amazing. Do it. You get a koozie, a magnet, and full access to the podcast. What are you waiting for? You'll waste $10 on stuff that's not nearly as good. $10 a month. Do it. But we talked about it, Andrew, is the thing is we aren't as frustrated with other people on Saints Twitter or analysts or whoever who get frustrated with Teddy because he doesn't throw downfield or he doesn't take chances. That doesn't frustrate us as much necessarily. But the thing is, I said to you is Teddy Bridgewater, he can be really cautious with the ball as long as he completes 75% of his throws.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he can't be cautious and be like a 65% thrower.
We'll even say 70, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be cautious and throw it over Mike Williams' head on a 5-yard pass that would have been a touchdown. Like, that makes me want to do hard drugs.
No, totally. And that's what we saw in the first half. It was 3-3, and he missed Ted Ginn too high on an easy third down conversion, and he missed – I mean, he was wild with the football. And probably the most frustrating play, I mean, I still think Ted Ginn caught that ball, but the most frustrating play was Ginn was at the 15-yard line wide open, and Bridgewater stepped up in the pocket and tried to throw it downfield to him, and I thought he got his hands under the ball. Sean Payton challenges it. They keep the play as incomplete, but none of that is an issue if he just hits him in the chest, and that to me was really, really frustrating to see him kind of skip that ball again.
Yeah, it was. Before we get to the questions,
he needs to get rid of the gloves. He needs to get rid of the goddamn gloves.
The gloves, man, is part.
He's had that his whole career, though. That's not happening.
Wow.
Before we get to
it's funny that you say that, though, Dave, because I remember how mad you used to get when Brees wore the gloves in Seattle. Remember?
I'm not a fan of gloves on quarterbacks. I'm just going to say it.
I want my quarterback to look like a man, not a maitre d'. That's all I'm saying. But before we get to the questions from, by the way, follow us on Saints Happy Hour podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube
Teddy
channel.
Bridgewater does look like Alfred a little bit, the butler. You know, Bruce Wayne's butler.
He does. So, people, subscribe to our YouTube channel, even though the live stream this week was a disaster. It'll be better next week, I promise. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. And if you listen, however you listen to our podcast, rate, subscribe, and follow us. Do whatever you need to do. Dave, if people want to gamble and win money, by the way, I'm 22-8-1 against the spread this year. But if people wanted to win money gambling online, Dave, what should they do?
Well, if you found $100 on the street, would you pick it up or keep walking? Of course you would take the money. So why do you keep picking winners and not betting on them? So if you're going to bet, that's why you should go to MyBookie. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay when you win. Because let's face it, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. If you're the kind of guy, if you're kind of like me, you're a little cheap, you only like to bet a little bit, but you still want to win a whole bunch of money, try a parlay. If all your picks come through, you'll multiply your winnings. And no matter how you bet, the NFL season is always the best time of the year to do it. So join now, and MyBookie will double your first deposit when you use promo code CHAIR to activate the offer on the website. That's promo code CHAIR. So visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
My only loss this week, Andrew, was because I foolishly bet on this team.
Just to make it 28-3. Bryant knocks it through. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25.
But someone asked on the Saints Happy Hour Twitter feed, and this is a great question, and I'm very conflicted. The Rams are at Atlanta, and the Rams are a 3-point favorite. Of course, Atlanta losing is just fantastic. Matt Bryant missed the extra point to tie the game against Arizona. That was orgasmic. But we hate the Rams, And they need to suffer for what they fucking did to the Saints and stole from us in the NFC Championship game. So, Andrew, who do you root for, Rams or Falcons Sunday? I'm conflicted. Help me out here. What do I need to do?
Are you a Saints fan?
I am.
That should be an easy.
But the Rams
question
are
for
like Atlanta's season's already in tatters.
Yeah,
Are you talking about the Atlanta Falcons?
I am. But
There you go.
I hate the Rams
Yeah,
so much.
There you go.
See, I'm going to root for the Falcons because, like Ralph said, the Falcons are done. Their season's over. Do they have one win? Did they get
They
one?
have one win.
Okay, they have one win, so it's okay if they win one more. That's not going to hurt anybody. And then that way the Rams get another loss. It spreads things out a little bit, makes them both equally shitty. I think I got to go for the Falcons.
Yeah, it's a tough call. It is. Andrew, I'm gonna.
And it's really not even fair that we hate the Rams because the Rams didn't technically do this.
I don't want to hear it, Dave.
The refs did it to us.
I don't care.
Well, I mean, we need to
I want the
we need
Rams
to maintain
suffer.
our focus on the one true enemy. It's the referees.
It's the Rams.
And the NFL and Goodell.
I hate Jim McVay and his smug face and that hyphenated last name guy that caused the penalty, whose name I don't remember. And Brandon Cooks and Jared Goff. I just don't like them. I do not like that team.
Gardner Johnson is a way better hyphenated name than Roby Coleman.
It is. I actively root against the Rams, and I love what's going on right now. It's kind of like how most people feel about the Cowboys. But the Falcons are the ultimate trump card. Like, I want the Falcons to go 1-15. I don't care if they get the first round pick.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. With Dan Quinn.
Oh, did you see what Arthur Blank said the other day?
What? No.
Oh, he's basically, I think he said, and I quote, that he needs to see some improvement before the bye. Otherwise, there might be some changes. So I think the Falcons have 3 weeks to the bye. So I think Dan Quinn's got to go 3-0 in his next 3 games, or he's out of here.
My dream scenario, though, is that the Saints humiliate the Falcons so much when Drew Brees gets back that gets Dan Quinn fired. And that would be the second coach that the Saints beat Atlanta, and the next day they either fired the coach or the coach just fled the scene like Bobby Petrino did after the Saints housed them on Monday night. This is from The Pretender, Andrew. Is the Pope to blame for the return of Travaris Cadet?
I think the Pope's to blame for the Saints beating Jacksonville. And I mean, obviously.
I don't think we're using blame the right way.
Credit.
Yeah, right.
Credit.
Yeah, true. But Dave, you're always so picky about your semantics. But yeah, that was weird. Like the hashtag Saints thing, and then did he ever delete it, or did he just leave it?
I hope not.
He left it.
I feel like so many people pointed out they were responding like, "Hey, you shouldn't do this. It's a football team, etc." But I kind of thought it was hilarious. And
no,
awesome.
he just did it since he left it because he's the Pope, man. He's like, I don't care. I'm the